We know that those people who work in early childhood care and education are hard-working and dedicated. And we know that they can make a great, great difference to the quality of a child's care and learning.
I, like many of you, am a parent. And as a parent whose children or child attends childcare, you realise how lucky Australia is to have Australia's childcare workforce.
For decades, childcare in Australia was seen as a babysitting service. There was very little focus on quality or learning. It wasn't really on the political agenda. Then educators, the very people watching over our little ones, decided to come together to make early childhood better for everyone.
The changes since I started, which was 53 years ago, have mainly been the fact that parents are far more involved with what goes on than they used to be. They used to leave their children and go off for the day, come back and pick them up. They left them at the door, they didn't really enter the centre. Now, of course, we involve the parents in the care of their children. So that was one big change. The other big change has been the recognition of the fact that we do more than baby mind. We actually educate these young children.
So what's it like now?
Well, now, in terms of what's happened, is we have regulated as to how many staff per children that you have, which is an extremely good thing. We're now seen as educators, not carers, and that's one of the biggest changes that's happened, all for the better. And I think the general public accept the fact that we educate children now rather than just baby mind. It didn't happen overnight. It's taken a long, long time. And with the help of our union. The Big Steps campaign started here, and that's rolled on, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And it was the Big Steps campaign that took it to the government and said, we need changes here. These people are providing quality care, but they're doing it under stress. They need to be paid more. They need to have their qualifications recognised. And in order to provide quality care, they can't be expected to look after so many children. They need to have better ratios, child-to-staff ratios.
There's mounting evidence that early childhood education is crucial to Australia's future, that by better supporting families, we'll boost our national productivity as well as educational standards and learnings for the next generation, right from the very start.
The brain development research tells us that the developmental trajectories are established in the years before the child gets to school. And we're not talking about making 3-year-olds good readers or teaching French to 4-year-olds. We're talking about the foundations of future academic success. We're talking about the building blocks of literacy. We're talking about children learning to socialise with other children, to manage their impulses. They're extraordinarily important.
The report also makes a simple economic argument. Helping children early in life costs far less than letting problems escalate, leading to adults stuck in long-term unemployment.
What's the benefit of making childcare more accessible and affordable?
Look, making childcare more accessible and more affordable is good for the economy in a number of ways. In the short term, if there's more childcare available, then more people can participate in the labour market, they can produce more and the economy will grow. In the long term, getting access to high quality childcare means that educational outcomes are improved and the productivity of the workforce is in turn improved. So if we can get children into high quality care, if it's affordable and if parents have got the choices that they want, access to childcare is a very important source of economic growth.
Introducing the new standards was an important policy milestone, but the Productivity Commission then told the government it had to address the real crisis in the sector: low pay, leading to an exodus of qualified staff.
The pay in the industry is very poor. You can be a diploma qualified educator and earn as little as $20.34 an hour. It makes you wonder how people can survive on such wages.
So tell me, why are educators paid so little?
Look, it's because the work is seen as women's work. The complexity of the skills involved hasn't properly been recognised. It's seen as pleasant, easy work. It's seen as work that comes naturally to women. In fact, we know that's not the case. It's extremely demanding. It requires professional training and it deserves professional wages.
We would love to be able to pay them more, but families are struggling to make ends meet as it is, and they just can't afford anything more.
So tell me, why is it important for children to be familiar with their educators?
Yeah, the morning drop-offs are never fun, and it makes it especially hard when the children are met with another stranger. The people they've learned to love and trust aren't there anymore. It makes it incredibly stressful, and the kids just don't cope with it.
So educators came together with the United Voice and demanded the government provide extra funding to help pay a wage that would allow educators to stay in the job they loved without crippling families. They rallied, they visited MPs, they door-knocked. They held a huge Big Steps Day nationally around the country, the largest coordinated day of action, featuring tens of thousands of children, parents, educators and supporters. Almost 10,000 new educators joined United Voice to get behind the campaign. Thousands signed a petition, including the then Prime Minister and Treasurer. Finally, everyone agreed. To really change childcare in Australia, the wages would need to increase. In 2013, educators won a first instalment of higher wages, $300 million in extra funding, enough to increase wages for some educators and, more importantly, to set a benchmark for the minimum amount wages needed to increase. The importance of the first $300 million federal boost cannot be understated. It's the tipping point and has established a new path toward professional wages for every educator in Australia. So what happens next? In 2014, the Fair Work Commission will hear the Big Steps case. It will be the biggest case of its kind in Australian history. Fair Work will hear from governments, parents, employers and educators about why we need to continue our progress and pay educators better wages while keeping costs affordable for families. It's educators who know what happens in centres every day. Educators have been so successful at putting the crisis in early childhood education and care on the national agenda that the new government has even announced a Productivity Commission inquiry. It will hold its own hearings in 2014 and make recommendations to government about what needs to change in the sector to deliver ongoing economic benefits to Australia.
Through the Big Steps case, we can win the wage increases we deserve. Through the Productivity Commission inquiry, we can build the political case for a big funding boost. And through the budget cycle, we can win the funding increase. It's a big ask, but we know we can do it because we've done it before.
What will it take to win?
It'll take a lot more people to come and join our union so that the Big Steps case is heard loud and clear in the corridors of Canberra, in the Productivity Commission and all over Australia.
More of us need to join our campaign by joining United Voice. That's more people active in our campaign so that when we speak for a united national workforce of educators.
Every educator can play a role in this win, whether it be talking to other educators and getting them on board, or talking to parents and explaining to them the significance of the case, or even talking or visiting local MPs and letting them know how important this is to us.
We need to celebrate that some educators won a wage increase of between $3 and $5 an hour, which set a benchmark for everybody else. And we just need to fight stronger and harder so that all the educators across Australia also win the increase that we deserve, professional wages for the professional job that we do.
We need to make sure every MP, Labor, Liberal, National, Green, Independent, they all need to understand why this is so important.
I'll be making a submission to the Productivity Commission.
I will help research our Big Steps case.
I will attend the hearings and I will report back to the other educators in my state.
I'll be organising another Big Steps Day to bring our supporters together and celebrate our work that we do together.
What will you do?
That's it.